Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be covering the arterial pressure points. I wanted to share with you my notes from when I took the course. So in your book on page 192, this is where you can put all of your information. We're going to write down the 5 signs of arterial octuism, or 5 signs that circulation is being cut off to a certain area. And that's the point of these arterial pressure points, is we want to be able to feel on the person if they received a cut right here. Are they still getting pressure down here? Are they still getting blood flow coming down to this part of the limb? Okay. So 5 signs that there is some circulation cut off is: number 1, there's pain. Number 2, they have paleness. 3 is paresthesia, or abnormal sensation. So this is like tingling, numbness, burning, itchy, or pinpricks. Number 4 is paralysis. Number 5, we're going to have the pulselessness, no pulse. Um, and then here is for sprains and strains, and then the 4Ds for bleeding control. So I imagine you've heard of RICE before, which is rest, ice, compression, and elevation. The 4Ds for bleeding control is detect the blood. We want to apply direct pressure. If we need to apply devices like a tourniquet, and for you people in the ambulance, don't dilute with IV fluid. You slowly add the fluid. So that information right there, depending on your professor, will be tested on. But as for the arterial pressure points, let's go through them. So number 1, that's going to be the superficial temporal. One thing you'll notice with this page is if you've been diligent with studying your arteries, it'll be no problem. No problem for you. For those of you that didn't, um, now's your time. Um, so, number 1, superficial temporal. Number 2 is that facial. 3 is going to be that common carotid. 4, subclavian. 5 is going to be axillary or brachial. Sorry, axillary is up here. Brachial. 6 is going to be radial. If we had one right here, this would be ulnar. 7 is femoral. 8, popliteal. 9, this is going to be your posterior tibial. And 10, this is going to be your dorsalis pedis, or pedis, however you want to say it. So, I hope to ask you this question, hope you'll know what I'm talking about. But if you're taking a pulse and you're wanting to check for arterial pressure point, if you're wanting to check to see if there is pressure at number 9, or excuse me, if you had a cut at number 9, where are you going to check to see if they're getting blood pressure? Hopefully you check below the injury, right? Or further down the chain. So like number 1, you're going to be checking down here, right? Like if there's a cut down here, you'll check right there. Cut at the facial, you're going to check right here, right? Further down the chain. So that's really it for this video. It's really simple, really sweet. Again, this is a lot of the information for these 2 pages. And if the video is helpful, please like it, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, I just want to give credit where credit is due. These are the books and the resources I used for the videos. So first we have Essentials of Human Anatomy by Dr. Kurt Walker. We then have Essential Clinical Anatomy by Keith L. Moore and M.R. Auger and Arthur F. Daly. I also used Structure and Function of the Human Body by Mark Nilsson and Jamie Garbett. The last book I have is The Concise Book of Trigger Points by Simon Neil Asher. And then I used the app called Complete Anatomy. As you've seen from the videos, it's amazing. If you can afford it, I suggest it. It's such a useful tool. when learning this stuff. So that's it. Have a good day.